let's get it, 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 let's go.
Sitting down with
Lebarron, Burtton, yup.
Introduce yourself to the world, man. You now tuning in to the logo to show if you are tuning in. Sitting here in the popcorn world with who?
Lebarron, Burtton, owner of Popcorn World, world's largest popcorn store where we make over 250 flavors of gourmet corn.
So, how did y'all start? How did you get into this business?
Man, well, two of my buddies started the business in 2008. And it's two guys I grew up with since fourth grade. And we had kind of like fell out of contact with each other. We were on two different ways of life, you know. I got married and they were like in the middle of getting divorced at the time. And man, the brother had, you know, we lost contact in 2001. And the brother contacted me in about the beginning of 2008 and was like, hey, you know, Shannon and Sheldon are looking for you, you know. Here's their number, contact them. So one of them was living out in Maryville, the other one was living in Georgia. And they were some knuckleheads growing up. You know, they'll tell you, they con artists. Everything that they did had like something, it was something illegal with it, right? So that's kind of why we had kind of like went our separate ways. I was just getting married, you know. Yeah. So when I contacted them, you know, they asked me to come out and see the spot, and I came down. They started the first one in Calhoun, Georgia. Back then it was Popcorn Haiti, right? And they started off with like 35 flavors. Okay. You know, and they was like, man, you know, we got a big church background, Christian background. We come out of the church, so it was like, man, we changed our lives. And you know, once I saw what they were doing, I built their first website. I'm a technician. Okay. So everything that I actually wrote, my business plan for social networking is older than Facebook. Probably to this day, 5 years more advanced than Facebook. So I was going through my stuff then, and I was doing consulting. 2012 rolled around, and one of them, they're twins, and one of them called me up, and he was like, man, look, if we done turned to millions, we done turned to billions, you need to come on board first, you know. And at that time, I was going through some struggles. I was losing houses and things like that. So I was like, hey, you know what I'm saying? I'll do it. You know, I came on board with them, and I'll never forget, I was getting paid $500 a week, right? And they had me look for a location up here in Illinois, because they had the stores down in Georgia, and they had a bunch of licensees. So they was like, man, we want to open a store in Illinois, and if you help us grow this thing where we could sell it, we'll cut you in. So I went at it, found out that they had diluted the brand. And what happened was, if you came on, what's your last name? Smith. So you could come on and start Smith's Popcorn, right? And they would license you to our recipes and things like that. But what that essentially does is create a bunch of competitors. Because you don't have one brand identity. So it took me a couple of years to convince them that was the problem, right? And what ended up happening, we ended up in Food Network magazine. So Food Network magazine contacts us and says, hey, we want your Italian sausage, your Italian sausage popcorn. Now, by this time we got 300 something recipes. And Italian sausage is probably rock bottom. You know, it's like, we might make that for a week in 2 years, you know. And we like, we were not supposed to be a representation, you know. So me being who I am, I sent you 35 places. I sent them key line, I'm like, oh, they're gonna let
they ain't know what to do.
Right, I'm like, they gonna eat this and they gonna forget about, you know. So they emailed me back, they was like, oh, thank you for all the extra popcorn, we appreciate it, we love it, but we already have a replacement. I'm like, huh? They're like, yeah, we already got those flavors. So May 2015, the Food Network magazine came out. They went through the whole country and found the top 25 flavors, right? Of the top 10 flavors, they were ours. They were all licensees. And we was number 8 for like what we thought was one of the worst flavors. So once they started acting, it was like, okay, we get it. I was like, yeah. These folks then gave the same company, recognition, but we ain't get no recognition. Even in our go-to, our cheese coated caramel, our licensee in Maryville got credit for that. So he ended up being the last licensee. He ended up being the last licensee that we allowed to come on with the Popcorn World name. So once that happened, the Popcorn Haven name. Once that happened, we did the rebrand, and we started Popcorn World. So 2015, we launched Popcorn World in Vegas. We had 3 locations in Vegas. We had one in the Venetian Hotel, one in the Fashion Show Mall, and one in a mall called Meadows Mall. Okay. And we launched the brand there. They flipped all the locations in Georgia into Popcorn World. And then we flipped the one in Oklahoma into Popcorn World. And it was a bad idea to do the whole Vegas thing because what ended up happening is you're so far away, you have to manage staff. And managing staff from that far away is just difficult, So I started a rule that I wouldn't have any locations more than 75 miles away from where I could access. So with that being said, 2018 rolled around and they were like, you know what, we're not feeling this rebrand thing because we're really starting from zero. We don't have the energy. They had started a ministry down there in Georgia and they were building houses. And so they were like, if you want to take the brand and all the debt, you can have it. And just, if you end up selling the company, you cut us in. So the roles flipped. It's like, if you end up selling the brand, then you just cut us in on the back end. So since 2018, that was November of 2018. From then, I took over the whole brand, and I've been trying to take the brand out. Yeah, so it's just one of those.
Have your guys try to, get back in with you?
No, I still work with them. We're like brothers. I got a licensee, so one of them I have him negotiate the licensee deal. And we just stay, the deal is the deal.
What would you say would be the top flavor?
Cheese is always going to be number one. That's cheese is always going to be the top seller. After cheese, the cheese coated caramel. Then after the cheese coated caramel, we got things like our strawberry cheesecake. And it starts to break down a little sectors.
So what's your favorite?
Man, I tell people all the time, it all depends on the day of the week and the movie, because it all really depends on, I don't take anything straight. So I'm always doing a mix. I'm every once in a while I might get on a cheese kick where I'll eat some cheese popcorn, but I gotta have a little sweet, a little savory, a little heat, So like, I think one of my go-to mixes is to take barbecue mixed with dill pickle jerk and a little caramel soup. Yeah.
That's your favorite. I'm gonna have to try that.
Yeah.
How much that's gonna cost me? It's like a batch of that.
Oh man, the mix is gonna cost no more than what,
You get a small bag, $5, though.
Yeah.
Go ahead, shoot.
Biggest bag, biggest 10 is $40.
Yeah.
$50.
It's 60. It's 60 now. Yeah, we had to go up on our 10.
Okay.
But then you still get half price refill.
Oh yeah. So why popcorn? Out of everything in the industry, out of food,
For 175.
what made you key into kernel corn?
Gotcha.
Like I said,
And
I
what's
was
the phone number?
introduced into it. The reason they got into it because they ended up doing the research and seeing the profit margin.
693.
Back then, the profit margin was crazy. Like,
309-693-3171. And the extension?
Like, you talking 600%.
Extension
Now,
7091.
It's changed since we in the
Thank you,
market we're in,
and happy
inflation and everything
Thanksgiving.
else. But that was really what it was. The two of them used to send each other popcorn because one lived in Maryville, the other one lives down there in Georgia. And since we're the Chicagoland market, we take it for granted that everybody knows about cheese and caramel. Yeah, it ain't so. Like I would probably say 70% to 60% of the U.S. don't know that cheese and caramel is even a thing. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Go to Oklahoma.
You're right though, because you go out of town, I'm like cheese, caramel, popcorn. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, that's a Chicago thing.
Unless they have been to Chicago
Yeah.
and been downtown and seen Garrett's, they don't even know it's a thing.
So would you say Garrett's is your number one contender?
I don't think we have a competitor. We don't have a competitor. Garrett's is probably our competitor simply because they're Garrett's.
Right.
And I am trying to take the brand national.
Facts.
But Garrett's can't do what we do.
No.
Like Garrett's is regular popcorn.
That's my favorite, but
Yeah.
I'll to go.
Yeah, Garrett's is what I call normal popcorn.
Yeah.
So what happens in our industry, a lot of people say gourmet popcorn, but people don't really know what gourmet popcorn is. So what do they compare it to, right? Like you can go to the grocery store, buy a bag of popcorn and say gourmet cheese popcorn.
Yeah.
No.
Nah. I can say myself, I've been eating your popcorn faithfully for the last 5 weeks.
Okay.
Like I go, my bags run dry, I come back.
Okay.
Kind of hooked, right?
Right.
When I met you, you gave me a bunch of flavors. So what I noticed, like I be going in the gas stations getting popcorn. Sometimes I don't always come here, and I'm bogus for that because y'all got them beat. Like you go in the bags, you eat the popcorn. Usually, I don't like eating a lot of popcorn every day because it gets stuck in the teeth.
Right.
Got them, you got all the excess stuff at the bottom of the bag.
Right.
You don't have none of that going on. How do you avoid that? I really want to know. Like I don't never get the shit stuck in my teeth. It don't never be, it's of course it's a mess on your hands, but that's normal.
We filter. So like they'll tell you, I'm fussing at them all the time the way that they filter the popcorn.
Yeah.
So when it comes into our pocket, like that's one of the poppers right there.
Okay.
And if you notice it's got holes in it,
Yeah.
and you see that little chute at the bottom.
Yeah.
So when the popcorn comes down, they got to rake the popcorn around and knock all that husk out. Yeah, so we filter it. Like if we get, they call them the old maids, the little kernels at the bottom of the bag. I'm usually having a fish.
Man. That's what makes us the top 10.
And that's the way it's supposed to be. That's the difference when you're gonna label something as gourmet or a luxury. I mean,
Or number one popcorn. You see a lot of that on, even vendors, they do it. But
Yeah.
It's got all that excess rubbish at the bottom of the bag.
so that's the difference. Like when people actually try our product, the product speaks for itself. I don't want to have to hard sell my product.
So will you ever hard sell your product and have it like in gas stations, different grocery stores? No?
No. I'm right now. What I'm doing is I'm changing my approach because the brick and mortar is like a real rough business to survive in. So I'm doing a lot more online,
Okay.
where we sell online. But in order for me to put it in the stores and things like that, and I will argue any company down The product that you get mass produced is not going to be the product that you sell in other places. It's not. It's impossible. It's, what happens is they put the product in what you call a continuous run machine.
Yeah.
And in order for a machine to coat a product, it has to be diluted. So that's why our cheese.
Dumb it down, it ain't gonna taste the same by the time it gets way out there in California with your stuff.
Yeah.
All the stores in California, by the time you get out there and taste it, it's gonna taste something totally different.
It's going to be watered down from the get-go. So where the amount of cheese that we put on our popcorn, you can't get in this thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. And then the margins. Because now I have to split my margins with another third party. Because the guy that's selling it don't want to make money.
And that makes sure it's so much more exclusive. You gotta come to Popcorn World if you want it. You
Exactly.
can't just pull up to Walmart and go get you a bag of Popcorn World. You want to come to Popcorn World.
Right.
So what's one of your number one locations?
The Gary location. This location that we're sitting in right now, this is the flagship. This is going to be the flagship location.
Okay.
I'm actually closing down my Oakland location currently.
Okay.
Because I had to do exactly what I was telling you, focus in on the production end of it, so that I can get my online sales. Like these boxes back here are all online.
Okay.
Okay, and even like let's see here. If you see here, and you'll see how behind we are in orders. We're probably, all these are orders that need to be filled. So these are all orders that we're behind on right now.
Wow.
You see that? Yeah. So all those orders have to be filled.
I gotta be patient, man. I look at it. You want the sauce, you gotta wait for the sauce. You know, just come out.
And that's what our customers are starting to get used to. They're starting to get used to the fact that, okay, this ain't popcorn that's just made by a machine sitting on the shelf. It's stock on the shelf. Now this is all, when people order, we get an order, and if there's not enough of it out here, we gotta make it.
Okay.
You know?
How long does it take you to come up with a batch of that sauce?
So the popping process is probably about 20-something minutes per batch. Then you gotta coat it, that's another 30 or 40 minutes.
So with a big jar that you run batch,
Mhm.
cut you off.
You see those tubs back there?
Okay.
Those are what we call reserves. That's one batch. Okay. One reserve you probably have a 10-hour window, 10 to 12 hour window.
Coating.
Yeah, from popping it to the finished product. Yeah. That's on the gourmet end of it. A little bit shorter when you're just doing the cheese. When you're doing the cheese, you're probably talking about maybe an hour.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Brandon. He's getting ready to do the spiced egg now.
Okay. So you guys have other locations. You got here. You got another spot in Indiana, huh?
I have a licensee in Michigan City.
Michigan City, right?
Right. And he was the first licensee under the brand, but he's not under me. If that makes sense, right? I may be buying him out there pretty soon. So that will be on me. And then today I'm signing a licensee for Indianapolis.
Okay, let's go.
And then a couple of months ago, I had a licensee go live in Long Beach, California.
That's super dope. Y'all can go to all these spots and get some Popcorn World, bring a piece of the world to your life.
Definitely.
You get one. Got a few more questions. Man.
Okay.
I'm always on your busy man. So, I answer all these questions. So, is it true that this is the largest gourmet popcorn?
Yeah. I don't think there's anybody that has as many recipes. We have 481 recipes.
Okay, and on the site it said 250. So
that's what we market because that's so when they first started out, their marketing was 35 days.
Right.
And they went on, and then it's like, you know what, 250, over 250, and then you're being politically correct, you know. So we have, right now, we probably have about 581 recipes. And so our business model makes some people nervous because they're like, you holding that means you know, it's not easy. But we're pulling it off.
So, do you guys ever take like feedback from the customers, like what kind of flavor, what you want next, or
All the
something
time.
like that?
All the time. That jerk, we were in the Oklahoma location, and a Jamaican guy came in, and he was trying all the popcorn, and he was like, oh, you ain't got no jerk, and he's like, so you ain't no jerk popcorn, and I was like, well, you can jerk chicken, you can jerk tacos, you can jerk everything else, I can jerk popcorn. Right. So he challenged me, he's like, if you make a jerk popcorn and it's good, I think he said like, it was $200. He said, I'll buy $200 worth of popcorn. Right. Next day, called him up. And literally, he tasted it, he's like, oh, you know. And I think he bought like $50 worth of the jerk.
Yeah.
And so customers, the country curls, that came from this location because we had customers, we had the finger hot, but you know, this is Gary, so Oak Line is a different demographic of people, you know. This is Gary, you know, and country girls in the hood, that's what we know about.
So, the marketing these brands like Pressure Care, do you ever get any kind of flack from that company?
No, because that's what we use.
Okay.
So you as long as we're using, like I can't use Fitness Country Curls and I'm putting some off-brand, you know. That's where, but as long as I'm using that product.
So what if you got a crazy request?
I mean,
like, hey, weed flavored edibles.
Look, if I had $100 for everybody that asked me to make an edible, I probably wouldn't even need to sell popcorn. But you know, this is
land up around the corner.
Yeah, but I'm a business person. Like I tell people,
It don't make sense.
It don't make sense. Like, why would I complicate my business? You know, and then we're more of a family oriented, you know. So I want kids to be able to get anything that you would get.
Smart man. So any other obstacles you faced coming up in this game?
Man, it's tons of them.
Have you faced any obstacles?
Man, tons of them right now. When you get in business, especially being a black business owner, you realize the things that actually hold black business back. Supply chain issues, merchant issues. Like right now, you're seeing the popcorn, but people are not seeing the things that I'm lining up on the back end. Like, you see those kernels there?
Yeah.
I just negotiated with this company to use their kernels. They're out of Francisville, Indiana, but ultimately, I want to buy some land, lease it out to a black farmer, and buy the product from them to have my own kernels. That way I control the supply chain. Because right now there's so many different, the company that makes my poppers, right? They make the poppers for the majority of the US. There's only 2 companies that make poppers. So I have to compete with them. That company stole 2 licenses. So you really understand, and I tell people like this, I've always been a legal person, I've never been a street pharmacist, but it ain't nothing much different from what I do versus the drug industry. There's a lot of parts, you know what I'm saying? I gotta get my kernels, Depending on who I get my kernel from, you know, they're gonna, you know, like if supply gets low, they're gonna sell it to the big guys before they'll give it to me. You know, so it's a lot, man. It's a lot of obstacles, and then it comes up to a capacity issue too. Right now, I have the ability to have more customers than I can serve. Our largest day is an $80,000 day. We sell $80,000 worth of product online in one day.
What do you think made that influx happen like that?
Well, I do a lot of online marketing. I love the grassroots still. Like online gives you that ability to stay really grassroots, like rooted with the culture. And there's a All Just Digital. They do there's a lot of comedians on that platform. I think it's one of Russell Simmons' platforms or whatever. They have a thing called Squadcast, and I had sent product to a couple of comedians, and they loved it, and they just started talking about the product while just organically while we were in the discussion. They talked about the product for 15 minutes. And when they uploaded that show, we got a new order every 3 minutes. Every 3 minutes was a new order. Yeah. So, and I'm an internet person. Like that's me. So, like now, I don't know if you know who Rodney Perry is. I've got Rodney Perry. He used to write for Monique. He used to be on the Monique show. To hear more, Kev on stage, D-Lay, Country Wayne has had my product. Pretty much, if they're in the comedian sector right now, they either know about popcorn or they have.
The whole world gonna be looking.
Yeah.
To see it happening, man. It's been great talking to you, man.
Oh, definitely.
I appreciate you, man. And I need to give me a bag of 3.
Okay. I got you. No, it'll be on me. Just get what you want.
Okay, man.
Can somebody take care of popcorn?
It's up tonight. So I see your wife name is right here, man.
Nina Burtton, yep. She's my executive director for Woodland Child Development Center.
Okay.
We are the largest child care center in Northwest Indiana.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I'm the president. She's the executive director. It's a nonprofit, and basically what we do is we give kids that don't normally have it the equivalent of a private education. We got them from 3 months. They leave us and go straight to the 1st grade, and they usually leave reading on the 3rd grade level.
Wow.
Yeah. And we're actually about to expand. We're actually looking to buy this land right here.
Okay.
And we're going to build a 30 to 40 square foot facility where we're incorporating a home ownership program for the families, tutorial. Basically, we're going to have kids programming and things by the time that they leave high school.
So dope, man.
Yeah.
Any other kind of ventures you off into?
Yeah, my Pride and Joy, I'm getting ready to launch that within the next month. I created a fundraising solution called School Biz, School BIDZ. And that's my Jeff Bezos move. That's going to be my stamp in the business world. That's probably going to be that's going to be my, like I said, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk move.
Okay.
Yeah. That project, if I get 1% of the schools from K through 12 to participate in the fundraiser, that project will generate $2.5 million per day.
Oh. Those are big numbers, man.
Yeah. That's what I do all of this for.
That's what's
So
up.
my main company is Burtton Equity Group. Popcorn World is just a company up under that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how long have you been working as an entrepreneur?
Since 2004. I used to work in the mill. And the day that my second child was born, as a matter of fact, the day that my second daughter was born, March 19, 2004, was the last day I ever punched the clock. It was just one of those things that I just always knew there was more for me.
That's so dope. 2 years later, you get recognized by the newspaper.
Yeah, I actually got another one of those coming in from the South Town.
Okay.
We got one of the best products in South Town.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
That's so dope. So I be seeing signs around this place. Y'all guys doing some hiring, man. What's going on? What's going on?
I'm looking to build a team. I'm looking to build. That's one of the roughest things in business people don't realize is building a team.
Okay.
And I tell people all the time, I'm trying to hit the millionaire, billionaire list. And the only way that I can do that, people don't realize the only way that you can become a billionaire is by making millionaires. So, you know, that's part of my goal right now is I'm not in business for the money. It's a God-given purpose for me to be in business, to do the things that, you know, in society, that a lot of people say people don't do, you know.
Yeah.
So, business for me is about changing lives.
So as a businessman, are you open 24/7? Like not 24/7, but 7 days a week?
You're talking about as in Popcorn World?
Mm-hmm.
Popcorn World is only because a lot of these, when you're leasing, a lot of these places don't want to be closed, you know, like the landlords and things. I would probably, if it was my option and I owned my properties, I would probably leave Sunday out. But yeah, we're open 7 days a week on this location.
Okay.
Not all my locations. My Long Beach location is closed on Monday and Tuesday. And I'm not sure what my Indianapolis location would be like.
Okay.
Yeah, but the Gary location is open Monday through Thursday, 11 to 8, Friday and Saturday, 11 to 9, Sunday, 11 to 6.
Okay. Pretty dope, man.